If you're doing any kind of energy work, you're going to eventually tap into different types of entities. It's very, very important that you watch the protection and sacred space modules before you get into this, because the protection work module really goes over what you need to do before you do any type of reading or any kind of energy work. When we're tapping into entities, what I mean by that is vibrational energy. That's what we're doing when we pull cards or we channel. We're tapping into an entity that is outside ourselves, and we're getting that information from that entity. Now, we have low vibrational entities out there, and we have high vibrational entities. When you're doing high vibration light work, you want to always make sure you're tapping into those high vibrational energies. If you're a fan of my YouTube channel, you will see I do a prayer before every reading. That's because at any time, some lower vibrational energy may decide to come into the reading and take over the reading and guide you in the wrong direction. Often, it's those psychics that are tapping into those lower vibrational energies that will lead you in the wrong direction. So you've got to be very, very careful that you're seeing someone who knows the difference between who they're talking to. Protection is everything, because you want to protect yourself from the lower vibrational energies so they don't feed you misinformation. It has happened to me personally in my own life. When I first started doing tarot professionally, what had ended up happening was a woman had told her husband she was going to get her tarot reading with me. And that was a really bad idea because he was cheating and actually stealing her money. He was able to enter the reading, and I gave her this reading that this man was the best man ever and that he was going to, take care of her and that they were soulmates. And a few months later, the whole marriage dissolved. And she still came back to me. She's actually one of my regular clients. And she had even admitted to me that, number one, she never should have told him that she was coming for the reading. And number two, she wasn't really ready to hear the info. But the lower vibrational energy ended up being her husband. He knew I was going to be giving a reading. I did not protect myself enough. I did not do prayer work before that reading. I was a brand new psychic. I was just going in and pulling cards, and it was one of the biggest learning lessons of my life. And the most impressive thing is that she came back to me anyway, and I've actually helped guide her through the divorce. And so it's been a really interesting experience having read low vibrational energy and given it to a client. You don't want to do it though. It's a mistake I'll never make again. If you notice, I will always have crystals on, and in the protection module, you'll see which protection crystals are best for you if you're doing energy work. I also offer crystal healing readings so that if you need to, get specific advice for what you're doing. Hotline work can be much harder and to protect yourself from, or if you're doing something in a public space. I've done a lot of events and markets, and I've always just bring my crystals with me to protect from the lower vibrational energies. Doing a long prayer isn't always an option. It can sometimes, you can look kind of funny and people will, it all depends. You've got to read the situation. But if you feel like saying a protection prayer out loud isn't appropriate for the moment, you can always just take a quick meditation, do a breather, cover yourself, picture yourself covered in obsidian crystal, your whole body, before you do any reading, especially if you don't have any crystals with you. Or even if you say you go to a party and there's a lot of different energies there. People can be low vibrational energies, spirit can be low vibrational energies. You can purposely tap into low vibrational energies if you want to. Sometimes I will, just because they're around the person and you have to. The most important part though is that you protect yourself from it so it doesn't stick to you. I can't express that enough. There are people who have asked me to solve murders for them on the hotlines especially. That is very, very low vibrational energy because you're reading on a murderer. Oftentimes, if I'm reading on an addict, the low vibrational energy of the drug or the alcohol, that's the devil energy in the person. Makes it very, very hard to get a clear reading on them. So if you're reading on an addict, you're going to be definitely tapping into some pretty low vibrational energies. But they deserve help too, and if you're going to become a psychic, especially if you're going to do it in a public forum, you're going to run into that stuff. So protection. So I'm not saying avoid low vibrational energies completely, but especially when you're first working out and first starting in this field, it's very, very important that you know the difference. Because when you're tapping into a lower vibrational energy, it will drain you. And if you don't do the protection work first, after that reading, you will not be able to keep going. And if you're doing hotline work or you're doing markets or events, you got to keep going. You know, you may get a reading with an addict. I've had several people who are addicted to heroin call me on the hotlines, and I've read for them. I didn't refuse them. You know, of course, I led them towards, you know, a path of recovery and prayed for them after. But you can't take that on personally. And then the next reading you'll get is like, you know, tell me how much my boyfriend loves me. And it's quite an emotional roller coaster, you know. So you really need to be prepared for anything when you're doing this work in a public forum, even YouTube. Sometimes readings come through. And even though I do that prayer, the person who's watching is dealing with some really low vibrational energies. You have got to know that it's a part of the job. It can't be fully avoided. Being a light worker is sometimes a really dark thing. We have to deal with really dark emotions. So there's a balance of not fully avoiding these darker entities. You know, even as a medium and a psychic and living in an apartment building, I've had several sightings with darker, lower vibrational energies just in the hallway. And I'll get into it in the medium section of these courses of what that's like, but it's often a flash, like a black flash, a shadow figure out of the corner of your eye. You turn and he's not there anymore. And you can just feel cold in darkness. Know that if you're gonna do this work on a professional level, you're gonna be opening yourself up to that. They are gonna show themselves to you more without you even asking, which is why I don't leave my home without crystals on. I don't get up in the morning without a prayer of gratitude and protection. It's gratitude is also a really big part. Thanking the higher, you know, God or your higher self for keeping you protected from these lower vibrational energies. They are part of life. Often grief, it's a little more of a struggle. It's not low vibrational. It's just very, very sad. You're going to be running into a lot of sadness as well. Confusion can be considered more of definitely a low vibrational energy. So it's not always murders and addiction. It's often even someone's just confused, cognitive dissonance, not knowing which way to go. People can often send the spirit of confusion to someone, especially if they're a leader and they usually know which way to go. There's all types of energy, and everything has energy. And knowing what's what, knowing what you can let touch you and what you can't let touch you is going to save you. Otherwise, you will end up with physical illness. These low vibrational, even the spirit of confusion, can give you some mental issues. You've really got to, and that stuff will stick to you if you do not protect yourself. Low vibrational energy is not bad. We're not to call it evil. We're not to, I think, labeling it anything other than just low vibration, not of high vibration, is a disservice because it serves a purpose. We learn a lot from low vibrational energies. And as I grow in this field, I'm realizing, there's good and there is evil. And it's always just trusting that the good prevails, love prevails. And that addict that you're talking on the phone who feels so low vibration and you just can't wait to get off the phone with them, trust me, you may say something or do something that changes the course of their life. Then they go on to counsel others. It's a ripple effect. It's the butterfly effect. And that low vibrational energy, you just helped to transmute and make something of extreme high vibration. Often addicts who get clean become healers. So never shy away, never hang up on them, never feel like don't ever feel like you're too inadequate to handle it. You can handle it. Trust me. It's you got to fight your lower vibrational energies will tell you you're not good enough to do this, that you're steering them in the wrong direction, that you're wrong, that you're crazy. I told one of my regulars that someone got secretly married on them. And I'm like, this sounds so Maury Povich. This sounds so Days of Our Lives. Like, a lower vibrational energy tried to tell me I was wrong. Like, you're crazy, Melissa. No, that's nuts. A week later, yeah, Melissa, he got secretly married. They met with the JP and didn't tell anybody. So that Maury Povich shit really does happen. Don't be afraid to say it. Don't feel crazy, because the lower vibrational energy will tell you, nah, you're just making shit up. You're just mad creative, you know, and it's simply not true. And that prediction that comes true, that person is going to always come back to me now because I proved myself, you know? And don't ever be afraid to say it, because often a lower vibrational energy will just hang around while you're doing a reading trying to feed you misinformation, especially if you haven't done the protection work. Whereas a high vibrational energy is going to speak to you very differently. They're not going to cause confusion. It's going to be very, very clear. And I heard in my ear, they got secretly married. And in the module where I go over tarot card reading versus intuitive reading, I'll tell you the difference between those two things. And with tarot card reading versus intuitive reading, if you just want to do tarot card reading, there's nothing wrong with that. And you're less likely to tap into lower vibrational energy. Intuitive reading, you're going to be more accurate, plain and simple, but you're opening yourself up. So you can make the choice in this field of how deep you want to bring it, you know? And I don't think tarot card reading versus intuitive reading, one is any better than the other, because cards don't lie, baby. It's just the level of accuracy is when you're doing intuitive reading and you're tapping into your spirit guides and angels, which is going to be another module for this, is absolutely imperative for accuracy for me. And so that means I do have to expose myself to low vibration. Don't be scared of it. It's not bad. It's there to teach us and to transmute and make people healers. And that's the reason why I'm a healer, is because I was exposed to so much low vibrational energy that I had to transmute that crap. And so I really do hope that you enjoyed this module on entities. I do think that, you know, it is more of a follow-up to other modules, but very, very important, especially if you're doing intuitive and energy work. And thanks again for purchasing this. Take care.